welcome aboard Starbase 80. I'm Captain John, your friend, and the leader of this whole mad crew of mad men, and no mad women yet. That's all right. That's all right. Well, we're fine. Whoever. We like everybody. All right. Already I can see the light is a problem. See, the problem is in video, we have a thing called white balance, where you take a white card and you just you take a picture of it, and it basically reflects light into the lens, so you get a sense. Anyway, my face is so pale. I am the white balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my curtains just a little there. Ah, that's better. Okay. Let's handsome up the place. You don't have to look at my mug the whole show. You get to look at one of the best damn first officers in the whole damn fleet, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome my number one, Flobo Boyce.
We got a second season? The Starbase 80? Damn! Welcome, Captain. So glad to be here.
I'm even excited to tell you this, Flobo. All of the brain trust got together last night.
Okay.
So me and our buddy Leo, and I had been looking for a way to. I have so many different shows and different ideas I want to do. Some of them Star Trek related, as a matter of fact, because we love the Trek so much. And but I needed an umbrella. I needed an overall name for our, media outlet.
Yeah.
And because it's so much bigger than Starbase 80 now, which is amazing, because Starbase 80 is so much bigger than I ever thought it was going to be.
Sick.
So I would like to welcome you to one of the programs, and I'm going to get this eventually, branded and the Weber Internety thingy.
Oh, wait. The Wit?
The Wit.
Okay. All right.
W-I-T. We are the men from Wit.
Yeah.
Kind of like the men from Uncle. Kind of.
Right. I like it. Why not? Wit.
You got it like that, too. I made it up. I was like, Weber Internety thingy. Yeah, all right. That's good.
It starts off strong, and it kind of goes, what are we doing here? The Weber Internet.
And is that not me in a nutshell?
Yeah, you're right. Captain.
I'm all enthusiasm, no backup.
Right.
All confidence, no backup whatsoever.
That's why you're a captain, man. I love it.
The worst kind of captain in the best kind of situation. Tonight on Starbase 80, we're going to do what we do. We're going to review a Star Trek episode. This one is from Classic Trek, and because we are recording this on the 31st of October in our year of 2021, it is Halloween today. And I actually went out onto the internety thingy, and see,
Trademarked.
it's working.
I like it.
I went out there. Synergy. That's the word I was looking for.
Ooh.
I went out there and I asked the internety thingy, was there ever a Halloween episode of any Star Trek? You got to figure maybe like Next Generation would have done that,
Yeah.
Only one Trek ever did it.
They know better.
The original Star Trek.
Hey, Kirsten Marie, thanks for stopping by. She found the Starbase 80. She traveled all the way to Starbase 80.
Thank you for being here, Kirsten. The interesting thing about this episode is it was one of a pile of scripts that was going to be for season 2, and season 2, just one of the most iconic Star Trek seasons you can imagine. Mirror was in this season. Maybe anybody watching, Kirsten, maybe you can. And Happy Halloween. Oh yeah, that's very nice. Why didn't I just put that on the? There we go. Happy Halloween. the exciting thing about this, completely lost my train of thought,
But
is
it being the only episode is Halloween. It was in a pile of scripts that said, let's do this. Good sign.
the network was all into, let's do a Halloween special. Let's do like a special Halloween episode. And so this had been taped earlier, filmed earlier in the season. It actually is the very first episode featuring Walter Koenig as Chekhov, and you get to enjoy his wig.
It's a wig.
That's a beetle wig, my friend. Crazy, because they needed his hair to grow out, but it wasn't long enough. They wanted it to look like he was like one of the Beatles. They were looking for like a young, good-looking, contemporary look for the late
Chekhov.
60s.
Ladies love that. Okay.
Well, Chekhov was also extra young, so they were trying to get younger viewers. I mean, eventually Star Trek Next Generation would go crazy with that and get poor Will Wheaton.
Shut up, Wesley.
But okay, so we the network said, look, this one's gonna be for Halloween, and that's how we got Catspaw. Catspaw became the Halloween Star Trek episode. Now, Flobo, I am going to do this so that you don't have to do it. Our friend Flobito is a newer Trek fan. He knows more modern Trek and goes backwards. And I, of course, am the opposite. I started very young watching Star Trek, continued to watch it pretty much through to like Voyager. Then I get really spotty. Then I found better things to do. Enterprise, I'm in and out. Found a lot of things to do. Star Trek Discovery, I'm back in, baby.
Basically, 2 weeks from today, actually, it will be 3 years I've been a Star Trek fan, if you could imagine.
Wow.
That. Yeah.
This is, yes, I reach you, brother. I reach you. What's so great about that is, and I know I say this to you quite a bit, Flobo, but I always wondered what it was like to come to the franchise later and to be working your way backwards. That to me is a fascinating point of view. And it's going to get exercised tonight because I want to ask you, if you don't mind starting with your general impressions. What were your impressions of this season 2 episode called Catspaw?
So there's a lot of, and I don't want to insult anyone's favorite series, right? Because I know people love things, but when you go from Discovery and you go anywhere like outside of like, I don't know, Picard, you have to downshift a bit because there's a lot more like politics if you're TNG, or a lot more world setting if you're Voyager. Like everything is slower. But that said, this was like 3.5 days. Like I had to watch it in 2 sittings. I was like, I watched it, and I was like, I'm gonna get a snack. What, 15 minutes have elapsed? Are you kidding me, bro? Like it was a rich cheesecake of a meal, man. It was intense. But we'll go through it in more detail. But it's long.
Oh my God, that is so true. I did the same thing. I was like, honest to God, when is this thing ending? It is one of the slowest moving Star Trek episodes ever. I think you could, I'll probably try to put together a list now of the slowest, nothing's happening, boring Star Trek episodes. Because this one had a lot of visuals. So they got out a lot of the old, what studio were they on? Paramount, probably. Desilu. They were shooting at Desilu. But I think she'd taken over like RKO. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz of Desilu. I believe they took over the old RKO studio. So they had a lot of old stuff from old RKO, like serials and movies. So, they break out the chains hanging off the walls, the skeletons, all the castle stuff.
Yeah.
And very few actors. That's the other thing that's really
right.
I find that very anyway, let's get into the episode.
All right, let's do it.
right at the very beginning of Catspaw, we are in crisis. So that's always a good place to start in a script.
Yeah, but okay, set it up. Yeah, please set it
There's
up.
a landing party on this planet, and this planet does not show up on any maps. This planet is a complete cipher. They don't know anything about it, but for some reason they sent 3 guys down. And so Scotty's down there, Sulu is down there, and Red Shirt guy is down there as well. I can't remember his name. Do you have memory?
Jensen, Jacobson, I think something with a J.
Actually,
Jackson. Crewman Jackson.
Crewman Jackson. And very cool. He was actually one of their stuntmen, the guy playing Crewman Jackson, which makes a lot of sense because he basically gives them the 1 to beam up, and they're like, wait, there's 3 of you. And he's like, 1 to beam up. So everything's wrong. And Captain Kirk, the brilliant William Shatner.
Brilliant.
Really, so perfect. I'm gonna go off later as we talk about this on my Shatner, but on my Shatner. He gets down to the transporter room and he's steaming, and Jackson beams aboard and falls down dead. And then they go over to like hold him, like, Jackson, what's going on? He's dead, Jim. And then Jackson's mouth opens and a mysterious voice comes out of it, out of his dead body. And it says, this ship is cursed and you must go away. And I believe then
the end.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Sulu. Look, you know what? I get it. People die all the time on Star Trek, and we'll talk about this, but I find it funny that some people pass away on this show, and people care for exactly 40 minutes, and then they get over it. It's like, well, things happen. You know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of CSI when there's always have to be a dead body, and it's like, and someone dies in Act 1, and they go, the famous fashion designer / senator, you must go down and find out who did this. It's like, come on. You know?
It is so weird to me. I absolutely agree that it's so weird that this guy's been killed, and there's not like the big funeral, and there's not like, it's the red shirt thing, where they just lose people. It just happens.
Right. I imagine someone's like working down there lower decks. Hey, where's Jackson? Oh, away mission? Okay. I'll cover. Like, no one.
Right. Who's doing Jackson's work now? That's a good question. Man, who schedules that? That must be Jackson's going down on the landing party. Better figure out a couple other people who can do what he does.
Oh my gosh.
Free them up in case they got to put them on his shift.
He's on death leave.
So, okay. So now we get into this doesn't make sense. There are a million scenes in this episode of looking at a tricorder. This doesn't make sense. Looking at scanners and sensors. This doesn't make sense. As I said, sensors.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's a pun. I don't do well with puns.
I go back and forth. Sometimes I say sensors. Sometimes I say sensors. I like them both. Yeah. Tomato. They both work for me.
Tomato.
So we get the captain. All right. So here's the other thing. This is just bizarre to me.
Okay.
A guy shows up from the planet dead.
Yeah.
He's pretty much like and used as a message. And so the captain's like, I'm heading right down there.
Yeah. So here's what tripped me out, because I thought maybe you try to like think ahead, right? Yeah. I thought this person showed up dead, had the weird voice, and then maybe there was a virus inside of him, and it was affecting everyone on the ship. So when he goes, I'm going down there, I'm like, oh, we've seen this already. This is like the second season. He's going to go to a planet. He's going to like try to bang a chick, disrupt the natural order of things, and then leave. And no one's called this out. It's been 2 seasons of this, but off we go.
This is the Trek we know. This is how the Trek is done. This is how the Trek is made.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, look, all of the things that, including the captain. I mean, I guess I can understand it with the captain going down. Understand the, but should that happen on a starship? Should the captain so mad? He's like, I'm heading down there. I'm gonna kick some ass.
No, because
It
that
just
was the
does-
big
does
deal.
not seem
You would have
right.
called Crewman Jackson in the first place. You would have gone yourself if you want to be that guy.
Right. Okay, so we then get I love Assistant Chief Engineer DeSalle is put in charge, and I do like the actor who plays him. He's very cool, but boy, is he not a regular. I guess he had done a few episodes, but all of a sudden, this guy we don't know at all. Assistant Chief Engineer is in charge of the ship. Flobo, are you comfortable with your acting captain being the assistant?
You know
Chief
what?
engineer?
There's a high turnover if everyone dies weekly. You know what I mean? There's not many people around to do stuff. He probably has 7 different titles. That's probably just one of them.
Oh my god, that could be true. Oh, see, I'm worried about the Enterprise, man.
Right.
I don't think there's any ship that blows up more than Enterprises, too. That's always been a thing.
Yeah,
for me.
let's say this one an Enterprise. Oh crap!
Good news. We're putting you on the Enterprise.
No.
Yeah. So they go down to the planet. The planet doesn't look anything like they expected. There's no water on the planet. So why is there fog? There's fog everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And then the 3 witches. So the 3 witches basically do a verse apiece. I think they pass the mic a little, break it down,
Hey.
and they basically warn everybody that they should leave. They warn the landing party, which is Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, the John, Paul, and George of space. Who's the Ringo?
Ooh,
Sue?
Bones, right?
Bones? Well, I mean,
Bones is McCoy. He could be both, I think, because I feel like he's the guy who's like the most like he's like the Raphael of Ninja Turtles, right? He's very like don't tell me what to do, right? He can be both. Let me both.
he is the irascible one. That is true.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love the line. Do you remember this line, Flobo, where the witches have spoken and then they kind of blow away, and then Kirk turns to Spock and says, "What do you think?"
Oh yes.
Spock says,
He says it's bad poetry.
"Bad poetry."
I'm just like, bro, like snap, yo, Spock, what an ass.
He just called them sucker MCs.
Yo, for real, dude. Like, sir, they are half stepping.
Now, what I love about this episode, and I alluded to it earlier, is this is probably one of the greatest William Shatner episodes. I mean, there are many, don't get me wrong, but this one is incredible, this episode, because, and I'll do it for you, because I have zero shame. Let me...
That's less than one shame, y'all.
Okay. So, I want you to be Mr. Spock for me.
Oh, man.
What do you think, Mr. Spock?
I really do.
You go bad poetry. Go on, give it to me. Bad poetry.
Oh, my God. This is Halloween. All right. It's bad poetry.
Like Shatner's just like, he's doing like all his sitcom stuff.
Yeah. That was my Spock impression, y'all. I want you to know that. That was awful on my part, too. I was most logical.
Yeah, I love that he spends so much time like sneaking funny things into this episode, because clearly it was boring for them too.
Oh yeah,
so slow this episode. We could rush through it and still not actually skip any plot points.
I think that's the point of it, man. I know we're jumping ahead, but I felt like there was the through line or the plot, and then everything else was just filler. Like we never really saw those witches again. Like they threw everything at us, like the cat or the beast or whatever. Like it's just like it didn't match anything. There was like no stakes. We never saw it.
One thing that Star Trek always usually does well is there's always an innocent. There's some like, help me. There's always some person who's being victimized. And sometimes it turns out that person is actually working with the bad people, but many times that's not the case. And so that chivalry, that need to protect, that sort of, knight errant quality that Star Trek, original Trek, TOS has, is at work. Not in this one. It's just our guys. Okay, first off, our guys follow a cat. They follow a cat. That's like 5 minutes of the show right there.
Right.
They follow the cat. They get into a castle, which they don't believe is there, but it is. But that doesn't make any sense. So let's go in. The cat is leading them down halls. I'm just picturing like the animal trainer dragging like a catnip mouse on a string.
Well, it was the 60s. They're probably dragging the cat, if I'm being honest with you. Peter's like, wait a minute. let's change this.
I thought of that so much because I don't know if you noticed, but there are so many different cats that they're using.
Yes. I thought it was just me. Look, I don't know about you guys because I watched this on Paramount Plus because it used to be on Netflix, I believe. I watched it on Paramount Plus. Like the mixing's all weird, the sound mixing's all weird. Like, you can't hear the intro or the one of two songs they play is super loud. So I thought I just had a bad transfer. But yes, the cats were like 20 of them.
All these different cats, and I kept worrying. It's like, what happened to the cat from the first scene? Is he okay? Like, wait a minute,
Jackson.
You're on your 9th cat now. What happened to the first 8 cats? I know they have 9 lives, but that's a piece.
Yeah.
So they fall down a trap door. That's like Scooby-Doo crap, right?
I had it in my nose. Straight Hanna-Barbera cartoon. with the same like thud sound. You know what I mean? Just
And how about that long shot of like the camera goes over to the hole in the floor and then tips down so you get to see them lying down there unconscious. And of course, it has to be shot like over the cat's shoulder.
Right.
And then the director has them shoot up from inside the hole so you can see the cat because, the cat's reaction shot is so important.
Right. The cat is definitely the hero here. I mean, it's the true innocent. No, you know what's funny? Like one of the things I did back when I was in film school, not to brag, but I wrote a CSI New York spec script. And for those who don't know, it's basically like a script of something that's on the air at the time to make you realize like if you could write that style. And I realized because I was bad at writing, that's the word I'm bringing it up. When you want to fill out pages, you do certain things, and this one does it. Like I had repeating of the plot. A man is dead. Or, oh man, this third act is pretty short. Add a chase scene. Add a fight scene. You know what I mean? Or just have this long, and this is the city of New York at dusk. Next page. This is the city of New York at dusk with the camera rising. And everything I did in film school, this episode had. It was disgusting.
Oh man. It's so funny because the cynical way of doing TV is you just like try to find a way to push buttons. And that's the cynical way. It's like, the chase scene is classic. Look, our heroes are detectives. They see a guy they know has a lead for them, but the guy runs, so they chase the guy. That's only padding. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's only padding. Then they get the guy, and then they get the information they need. Did we really have to do the whole chase scene? Well, yeah, because it stimulated some people. Anyway, we're still on Act 2 here, but unfortunately, this won't take mine very, very much time. All right, the guys wake up. They're chained to a wall. Another great moment. I don't know if this was supposed to be significant, but McCoy is chained up next to a skeleton. And at one point...
on the nose. I'm sorry.
Kirk says, Bones.
Yeah.
And then goes, Doc. Because
He said Ringo
he's
first,
making
but
it
that was cut.
Yeah, he's not talking to the skeleton. He wants Bones. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean you, Mr. Skeleton.
Right.
Why are we wasting time on that?
We're wasting time because it's like, you know what? I really feel like, yo, hey, look, we did our dailies. We're short. Let's do something cool. Chaining people up is like, it happens a lot of shows. I'm not knocking that for this one. But this one doesn't even make sense. Like, who would have chains? I know it's an Earth projection and dungeons. Of course, they stopped to explain that too. But it's like, you got these guys knocked out, chained up against the wall, and do what? To unchain them 3 minutes later? Like, what's the point?
I mean, if you're afraid of these guys attacking you, you're really good at making holes in the floor. Just keep sending them down to the basement. Right. You don't need to chain.
Yeah. So we got you locked up. But we're gonna unlock you.
This episode, I'm telling you. So finally, we see Scotty and Sulu. They show up. They are automatons. They are somehow. I'm not even sure we find out. It's like they're psychically shut down, but they're also hypnotized. And they free the guys, and they're like, "Good, let's get out of here." And then they realize. I guess season 2 is going to be marked by a lot of my Shatner invitations.
I just can't do it. Let's book it, y'all.
I want to apologize ahead of time for the entire season.
And I apologize for my Spock, by the way.
Your Spock is spotless Spock. We then get almost a fist fight because the guys try to overthrow Scotty, who's got a phaser on them, and then they're instantly boinged into the I'm gonna go throne room. I'm gonna say throne room of the castle. That's where they end up. And that's where we meet our first bad person, and it's Korob, decked out in wizard's finery. I love that wizard cloak he's wearing, by the way. How do you feel about that wizard cloak?
I did not expect this episode to have fashion tips, but I'm glad you appreciate it. I need one of those. Yes.
So he's got the robe and the wand and a black cat. Oh, the black cat from before. Not literally the black cat from before. We were like on our 12th black cat.
Right.
This one's a long hair. Very pretty. I do love cats. Do you like cats? I've never asked you that, Flo.
I think of animals, I would be a cat person, but I'm allergic. So I kind of stay away from them. But I'm not a dog person.
We've got your vulnerability. That's your kryptonite. Your kitties. Kitty kryptonite. So Korob basically says, "Hey, I'm Korob. I'm awesome. You guys should leave. Why didn't you leave? We told you to leave. Why are you here? We told you to leave. Maybe I can buy you off." So he boings some food onto the table, but clearly the boys are not going to eat. Then he turns their plates into giant plates of gemstones. Tries to buy them off. And at that point, I'm going, let's just take it. Let's just go. Why are we here?
Yeah. Just unexplained gemstones. No problem. Not even going to check for clarity. Just going to be like, okay.
But a really interesting comment, which I'm not sure how much we knew this as fans, where Kirk says we could manufacture these things on our ships by the thousands.
Yeah.
Using the replicators.
Yeah.
Which that's really cool. That's where we start to get at the beginning. Now, that and later there's a reference by DeSalle to, I'll bet you credits to Navy beans that we can put a dent in this force field. So they still talk about credits. So that's interesting. Right. Not quite the no money future that Star Trek Next Generation offers us. Very interesting. And they haven't replaced Navy beans. That's also interesting to me.
Well, obviously it's a delicacy now. I mean, it's like wine in a box, bro. It's highfalutin. No, I'm with you. I feel like with dilithium and lanthanum and TNG, like the currencies are few and far between to establish who's rich and who's poor. But I don't think anyone joins Starfleet for the cash. Like,
And actually, the fact that Starfleet has all the replicators, I always thought, well, yeah, but they have the best replicators.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you want to be in Starfleet. You never go hungry a day in your life. They get the best replicators.
Leo Genesec in the chat says Starfleet beans. Like they're gonna give like the Delta packages. You know? Thanks for flying Starfleet. Here's some Navy beans. Yes, the future is now.
I'm glad you called my attention to that. I was over on Memory Alpha trying to restore my memory.
Give it up, man.
Seriously. Okay, let's get to the next big reveal. That is the cat leaves, and then who comes in but Sylvia? Ooh. Sylvia immediately starts proving herself to be a lot less nice than Korob, which is crazy because Korob's not that nice.
Nope.
And Sylvia starts she's getting spicy, man. That's when she tells us about sympathetic magic. She pulls out the little pendant with the Enterprise on it, which I'll point out, according to the notes here, it now sits in the Smithsonian.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Prop. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
you could see
Yeah.
that in the Smithsonian. So we end Act 2 with her holding a tiny pendant of the Enterprise over a flame, not a very big flame either. And then we cut back up to the ship, and Chekhov says, "We're burning up, sir." And they're getting so hot up there. Act 3. Hang on, folks. We're going to get through this, I swear.
It's like a water break.
Act 3 begins with basically Kirk giving up. He seizes Sylvia's arm. "Give me your arm and put that thing down. I'm sorry. I give up." And so they basically, say, "Okay, you're in charge. Stop trying to burn up the Enterprise." Even though they don't believe it's magic, they do somehow know that scientifically this danger is happening to their ship. Are you still with this story at this point, Flobo?
I'm kind of like, what is the point? Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, what's the point of this entertainment program that's free? Brr. But it's more like on this mission, like I understand that you want to be able to say that there's different aspects to the universe and all that. And I understand that it has a very Halloween vibe, but it's like, they're supposed to defeat these guys, and they do. But are they supposed to defeat these guys? Are they supposed to learn from them, like they're supposed to do, like what the mission is in space? Like it felt really weird at this particular point where it's like, I don't know who to root for, really.
Now that is a very good question, and I honestly think that a lot of what we see in TOS, classic Star Trek, as I like to call it, is we see a lot of what if, but it's not the what if from a Star Trek fan, because that would be, well, what if we had to meet the Gorns and go to the Gorn home planet? I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, back in Hollywood, it's like, what if we did an episode using all of these Old West props we have?
Yeah.
We got this old Western town. Why aren't we just using this stuff? So that you end up with the gangster episode and then the Nazi episode, and the Roman gladiator episode. It's freaking crazy how much of this is just TV making itself.
Yeah, I agree with that. It happens not a lot. It happens sporadically to the future ones too. Even though I haven't watched many episodes, I feel like Voyager's done a lot too. Yeah, it's like, we're gonna do this country bumpkin. So all right, we're gonna be on this desert planet. Why not?
I get it. Look, you got 28, 26, 29 episodes per season. You're coming up with as many different angles that you can use to look at what's going on. I totally get that. All right, let me get you out of there. So Sylvia is clearly the strong one, and Korob is like, come on, hey, we're not supposed to be doing this. And here's something interesting, and I'm thinking this might be a rabbit hole I want to fall down. Korob reminds her that they are working for the old ones. Now, you could just do what I've done every time I've watched this episode, and this might be the 7th or 8th time that I've been in the room while the episode was on. I I don't love watching this episode, but it is Star Trek, and sometimes I'll have it on in the background. I've never thought about the old ones. That's a thread we need to tug on, because the fact that they to answer your question from before, Flobo, I think what they're constantly trying to do is they're trying to remind us that Starfleet is somewhere in the middle of powerful, capable, intelligent species in space.
Right.
And there's a lot above.
Yeah.
A lot more powerful, a lot smarter, a lot, transcendent of physical bodies. A lot of that comes up in original Star Trek. And that's very interesting because, especially at that time, I'm not sure how much Americans thought, there are people who can kick our ass. Like, that wasn't a big thing in the late 60s.
I agree.
Even though actively the country was getting its ass kicked on several fronts.
Well, it depends what network you watched, but
exactly.
That's a Vietnam joke, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm with you. I feel like in the writing of it, you want to make sure there's some shred of sympathy for these characters, so they're working for somebody else. And then I can bet, like, if a Lower Decks or something did that, pull in the old ones thread, it'd be kind of like, oh, long-term storytelling. But to me, I thought it was a little bit too little, too late. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to jump ahead, but at the end of the show, it's kind of like, oh man, this is terrible. Like, you don't feel any great about this episode. You're kind of like, oh, okay, we just disrupt the natural order of things. And
I think we could go pretty quickly through this to get to the real point. And the real point is sometimes aliens are really alien.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing to this episode.
It's, you know what? It's not so much what happened; it's how it was ended. And this is, again, maybe I'm not familiar with much of the episodes, but these pair. Well, first of all, Shatner found time to turn down the alien and to smack her over a table. Whatever. I don't feel good about that at all. He's supposed to be the good guy.
Dude, that whole thing.
You're not a woman to me. Oh, jeez. Sean Connery's like, pull it back, bro. It's like, what are you doing?
Turn it down, Bill. That's crazy.
She's a lady.
She's a lady, for God's sake. She put on that giant bouffant wig. Come on, Bill.
It was weird.
What's weirder about it is if we take him at his word, which is he doesn't believe that she's a woman. He doesn't believe that she's vulnerable. But he was seducing her. He was nibbling on her neck. So he's pretty much going, well, this is a weird alien creature shaped like a woman, but I think maybe I'll get a little hey going on here.
That's why it's lounge music. That's the reason why they can play it while he's doing it.
Oh, the show that launched 1,000 lava lamps.
Yeah, pretty much. No, you know what? And so it gets to the end of it. Can I get
let's
there?
get
It gets to the end of it, and so it's sad, really, because they basically outsmart these things. They go on the planet to honor Jackson, which you never hear about again. And Spock looks at these like things that are like screaming for their lives. He goes, we should bottle them and research them. And Bones is like, nah, they're dead. And it cuts back, and they're like smoking from their ears. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, well, you didn't have to do that. They're on an isolated planet. You won. What? And you guys just go back to the ship? And you guys are the heroes? John!
I know, it's insane because as having done writing, and I've done writing as well. Well, actually, you're a published author, but the beauty of that is like, well, why aren't they going to examine these bodies? That's a good question. Have them just set themselves on fire. Have them just burn up. Oh yeah, that solves that problem. Okay, like so many. Okay. I haven't used this word yet, but I'm going to use it now. Random.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of random happening in this episode. Oh, man. Well, Sylvia and Korob in their real forms are like these tiny little marionettes, even in the cleaned up modern version of the show. And I had the same problems you had, Flobo. The print that they're using on Paramount Plus is bizarre. It doesn't even have the space, the Final Frontier. Doesn't even have that in the
No,
beginning.
it's there. It's there. If you pull it up, it's like muted on the right channel. That's why I was like, is my transfer weird? It's like but the music is super loud, and you're like, "What? Netflix, we need you." Yeah, go
man.
back and blast it, bro. If you go back and blast it, it's low on the right channel.
That is crazy. I always like to watch it with closed captioning on because I like to see the script, and also I have crappy hearing. But hey, kids, don't listen to loud music.
Can't wait for me. I'm a DJ.
Yeah. You know
What?
You know what I'm saying. It was so bizarre to see the text of Space: The Final Frontier coming up and not hearing it.
Yeah.
And me going, is my hearing that bad? I can hear the music though.
I thought my app was broken. I went to my cell phone. I went to my laptop. I went to my desktop. But then on my desktop, I had my headphones unplugged, and I heard it like it sounds like he's underwater.
Yeah.
And so I thought my app was broken. So
Paramount Plus, what are you doing?
what are you doing?
What's going on with you? Okay, so let's just wrap up this whole thing. Are you glad you saw this episode, Flobo?
I'm glad Starbase 80 is back. The whole time I was like, I haven't been this mad since Tuvok, bro. Like what? Or Tuvix, excuse me. Since Tuvix, bro. Like what are you doing to me? Like I was writing this in my notes. I'm like, I think John hates me. Happy Halloween.
Honest to God, I saw this episode come up when I searched for Halloween episode, and I was like, this is, if you asked me which episode I would never want to watch again, it would be this episode. It was
if I ask
boring
you which one you subject me to, you definitely this episode. You gotta see this. You have to see this one.
It was boring when I was a little kid. It was boring when I was in college. It is boring now. This episode is boring. It has like 5 minutes, maybe, of interesting, like, oh, that kind of moves the needle. That's kind of interesting. And we will be chasing down the old ones. We'll be trying to figure out the other references, because is it the Q? Is it one of the other super races? We don't know, man. That's kind of cool. So we started with this episode for that reason. That's a good reason to have watched this episode. Let's go through your notes, Flobo.
Yeah, sure. If you told me I was going to see wizards bicker like an old married couple at a grocery store, I would have passed on today's episode. There's a lot of episodes of seeing the crew tied up or chained. I'm starting to think there's a pattern, a kinky pattern.
You're not here for the exploring, are you?
No, you didn't come here to hunt. Was there a mass hysteria in America back then to see Kirk make out with aliens every week, where people were like, "We need to see this happen"?
Could be.
And in true form, Kirk is all smug, like, "Yeah, it's a plot. I hit that." I got 2 more, and also I forgot how awful the Star Trek uniforms are. It really feels like they're pajamas, especially that fight scene.
They did so many like close-ups and then pull-outs, so it's like the close-up on the insignia on Kirk's outfit. So this is how one of the scenes begins. You can see the crappy stitching.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. Even for back then.
Even back then, and it's like, oh, those velour tops that they're wearing.
It's like itchy kind. And lastly, does anyone ask what the witches were doing when no one was looking? Are they like in 3 Witches in the Big City, like a sitcom? Are they hanging out? Are they best friends? Are they friends from work? I need to know. All right, that's it. That's what I got.
They're witches. They're witches.
Get out. Get
Sometimes
out.
they can be bitches. Wacky witches. It's Wacky Witch Planet. Folks, it's episodes like this that make you appreciate the really good ones. I promise we've got really good ones coming up for the rest of season 2. Flobo boys, look at us coming in at 46-ish minutes. We'll probably end it with a 50-minute episode. That is right in the sweet spot.
Oh yeah.
Flobo, please
Definitely.
tell us about your latest book.
Oh yeah, well, I'm glad you asked about it. No one else asked. Graduation day, my first ever memoir. Back when I graduated college, my commencement speaker was a guy that worked at Walmart. I said I could do a better job, and so the book is about different chapters in my adult life that I think could be beneficial. Check it out on Amazon. It's called Graduation Day. Let me know what you think when you pick up a copy.
Folks, it is. I mean, here we are at the very end of October 2021. Christmas is coming up. I think a copy of Graduation Day would make excellent gifts for your friends and family. Always marketing, AM. Always marketing. Where else can we find you? I am so thrilled that your show New Amsterdam dropped our episode just recently.
Yeah, Captain's Quarters. The episodes drop New Amsterdam Radio. Learn more at newamsterdam.com. And Commander's Log returns November 18th as we go through season 4 of Star Trek Discovery. But if you want to support the homie, you can by becoming a member of the Boisterous crew. You can do that by hitting up Patreon. Patreon.com/FloboBoys. New content dropping all the time.
I am a proud Patreon patron of Mr. Flobo Boyce. And Kirsten, thank you so much for being with us on the show. Leo Genesek, if you're still with us, thank you for being with us. Folks, it just gets more fun from here. Here at the Weber Internety thingy. I promise more shows, more creativity, and more Flobo Boys, because I know what the people like.
Really?
Yeah, wouldn't you say?
I wouldn't know.
All right, folks, that is it, Flobo. I have no idea what these credits say.
Let's go.
Let's go. Join us next Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and that would be 2 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, Jake.
He wasn't here. Who's that?
And Jake will be coming up this season. He's a good guy. I know he'd love to join us. And Kristen says bye. Kirsten says bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, that's also true. I have no idea what I'm doing either.
True.
I was supposed to be a lawyer. My dad says to be a civil engineer or lawyer, and now I'm doing this.